What's up everybody and welcome to another edition of AGR's Pop Culture Reviews. I feel like I'm constantly apologizing for not staying on track with the reviews. I am going to get to them, guys. I'm going to do a lot of retro stuff, some new stuff, and some stuff that I have backlogged. Nevertheless, I will get through these reviews, and again, I do apologize even though I keep apologizing. But what I won't apologize for is the awesome figure that I have to review for you today, even though it's a little bit late. The early 90s was a great time for manga, really pushing the envelope in terms of the complexity of the stories they were telling and the overall narrative. To say that it gave birth to an entire genre in manga, mainly the cyberpunk post-apocalyptic series, is a bit of an understatement. Finally making the jump from manga to anime made its transition complete, filled with great characters, amazing action, great animation, and of course, pushing the limits of narrative and the overall complexity in terms of socioeconomic status in a post-apocalyptic world. This anime was truly amazing and really revolutionized what an anime series can be and who would be consuming it. Then finally in 2019 it made the jump to the big screen under a new moniker, Alita Battle Angel, for a whole new generation of fans. And I have to say, it was pretty true to the source material, both the manga and the anime. Not perfect, but pretty true. So today we're going to be reviewing Hot Toys' version of Alita Battle Angel, the 1/6 scale figure. Let's take a closer look. Admittedly, I hadn't seen the anime since I was a kid, and I used to think that Alita had those very unique features because the anime was stylized, particularly in her eyes. But when I saw the CGI recreation in the film, I realized that wasn't the case. Now they're perfectly recreated here from the 2019 film. They look fantastic, Countess in the face is great. The only thing I'm complaining about a little bit is the hair sculpt. It definitely looks like a mushroom. I don't know what they could have done to improve this, but it is a little bit weird. Nevertheless, it's a pretty great head sculpt, especially when we compare it to what we see in the film. The midsection and upper torso of this piece is really superb. I definitely love the color palette. There's a lot of detail here. That metallic purple offset against that silver looks fantastic. As you can see a lot of the tendons and a lot of the fibers in the muscle. It's really well done, guys. I have to admit, I was very impressed with this. Now, there's a lot of seam lines here, but I can forgive that because it's incredibly flexible. It's very malleable. You can do some really nice dynamic poses. But again, there are seam lines, which I can also forgive for realism because she is a cyborg. What I love about the lower section of this piece is you can see how powerful she is. Now, the leg muscles are not overstated in terms of how big they are, but you can definitely see all the details. I love the polished silver here, and of course all the tendons and the fibers, which are really well defined. I also have to say, there's something very impressive about the way they sculpted the feet, and there's another dynamic to it, making it a lot more malleable, which we'll explore a little bit later when we do talk about accessories for this figure, because I think they deserve a closer look. Overall, this sculpt is done so well. Now, not that she needs it because she can pretty much dispatch her enemies with just her fist, but she does have this really awesome sword. I love the detail here, especially the hilt. And the silver in terms of the color palette looks really fantastic. It's incredibly detailed and almost the length of the whole figure itself. And again, guys, if you really want to, because of the fact that this suit or this power armor that she has is so malleable, you can really get some dynamic poses. And I did so here just to give you an idea of what you can do with this figure, but that comes with a bit of a caveat. Overall though, I do love the blade. I don't think you have to go out and mirror this piece because it does look a little bit awkward. And remember I was talking about the mushroom head sculpt? Well, you really notice it here, and it looks horrible. Detailed, but maybe horribly detailed. Now the reverse side does have a lot of detail, but again, doesn't merit you having to mirror it. There is no fan service to speak of whatsoever, so again, don't really have to mirror this piece. It doesn't really add anything to it. Like I said, very detailed, but don't spend any money on it, guys, because it's really not worth it. Now, I feel like this figure really has two modes, and let me explain. So, first of all, I have to say that the materials used here, although they're thin, they're actually high quality. Now, they're thin for a reason, to give you a little bit more malleability in being able to pose this figure. As you can see, they do look thin, and initially I thought they were cheap, but it's actually very high quality. There's a reason why it's so thin. I also have to say the boots are sculpted incredibly, and you actually swap out the cyborg feet for the boots. They're really well done, guys. I love the detail in the laces particularly, and they're pretty malleable. Now here comes that caveat I was saying. If you're going to display it with the clothes on, it's going to restrict the movement in the actual legs, so keep that in mind. Now one of the things I do love about this piece is definitely in the base. Just take a look at how detailed it is. I love that it's just round and it has a very small footprint, so to speak. The stone and the way that they carved it looks amazing, guys. It looks like actual stone. I love all the little holes and dings. Everything just looks really awesome. It's really crumbly, and I have to say, really goes with this piece. And on the lip of the base, it does read Alita Battle Angel in that nice purple hue. I'm not exactly sure why they didn't show more of this base in the marketing, but you know what? Happy surprise. Now this is one of the other accessories that this figure comes with. It's that little heart valve thing, which I think is pretty cool that they included, even though, you know, I don't know how you would display the figure with it. I don't know. Whatever. The point is that it's really well detailed. As you can see, they use a lot of vibrant colors, and they kind of use a nice theme or motif of metallic, which looks really cool. The blue offset against that purple looks really nice. I mean, overall, this is not a necessary accessory, but it's a nice little detail that they put with the figure. In addition to that, you get the little purr system tool, because you can really make this figure look funny. I don't know if the eyes move independently, because that would be hilarious, but you do get the little purr system because it does use that in order for you to control the eyes on how you want to do it, which is really cool, because then that means that you can get some really dynamic poses, even moving those big giant eyes that she has. Which again, I think it's nice that they include this tool, and giving Alita Battle Angel her eyes, I mean, it just makes sense. Now, I wanted to show you the feet again, because this is another layer of diamondism, especially if you're going to be posing this figure. It's really cool, but if you notice that the actual fingers or the toes of the figure actually move. They're not static. You can actually move them for additional posability and malleability, which I think on this figure really fits with it. It's really cool. The feet themselves are just really well sculpted, guys, especially if you're going to change them out or swap them out if you're going to be using the clothes. I think it's really cool that they give you this option, and they're not a pain in the ass to swap out, which I think is fantastic, guys. Overall, I have to say, really nice attention to detail here. And of course, rounding up the last bit of accessories, there are 5 additional hands for various poses. Now on this figure, as I mentioned before, if you're going to use the exoskeleton only without using the clothes, it is very malleable, so you're going to be using these hands a lot for various poses. If you do use the clothes, you're not as restricted in the upper torso in terms of the arms, but you will be in the lower legs, and you really don't want to be flexing that kind of material too much, because although it's not cheap, it is very thin, and that malleability actually works against it, because it will cause tearing at some point. Now, although there's some things that kind of bothered me about this piece, it is by far and definitely a holy grail piece. I mean, it's just such a cool figure, guys. I really like what they did here. Not to mention, there's not too many collectibles this high-end at this price range, unless you want to spend a lot of money. Now, before I go, I just want to thank the folks over at Sideshow Collectibles for sending this wonderful piece over for review. Alright everybody, so that's my official review of Hot Toys version of Alita Battle Angel, the 1/6 scale figure. As always, I thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you on the next AGR's Pop Culture Reviews.